name Nancie King Mertz is familiar to PSNM membership for many, many reasons. As judge for our national shows, as well as our workshop artists last year. Her allocates are many, including eminent pastel distinction from IAPS in 2018. Her current activities take Nancie to France next month to teach a workshop and a show of her work at one of the Giverny museums. In October, Nancie will teach a 2-week workshop at La Romita School of Art in Italy. And this is, I'm sure you can still register for something like that. And Art de Triomphe is a gallery and learning center in Rockford, Illinois, where Nancie opens her home graciously and has workshops when she is not teaching on the elsewhere on the road. I admire Nancie for her artistry and excellence in her painting, and also that teaching is such a prominent focus to share her artistry commitment with everyone. And I truly mean this, that she's an amazing teacher to me. And so we're lucky to have her as she has her very busy schedule. So I give you all Nancie King Mertz.
Sorry. Thank you so much, Letty. Gosh. You were here in October?
Yes.
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 And we had a great time, and you did terrific painting.
Well,
inside
it's
and
all
out.
due to your expertise and sharing of and taking every question quite seriously. And I've seen in both workshops, no question was too small or too large, but you tackled it, and as well as people telling you what to paint. You do that very well.
Well, I want people to focus on what they're struggling with. So I try to give people that option if they want, cityscape, if they want landscape, if they need, tutorial on foliage, whatever. So, I kind of let students choose what they want to see demoed. And
we were at the observatory and somebody said, oh, do the perspective of the glass building that was there. I thought that was pretty awesome, and you handled that beautifully.
Well, thank you. The painting's not very good. But anyway, we talked about perspective. So anyway, I want to show you my palette, and I have 4 signature sets of pastels Richardson's had me select, and I ship out those pastels if anybody is needing more pastels. We all think we all need more pastels because we never can find the right color when we need it. But anyway, they're sets of 80, and one's urban with lots of darks, and then I have 2 landscape sets, atmospheric and lush coastal foliage, which has tons of greens. And then I have a stunning skies and water set. So if anybody is needing anything. And so let me show you the palette. Sorry for the dirty rag, I forgot to remove that. So I've merged all the sets together. So I've put all the blues together, all the greens together, all the yellows, and that was my husband's hand, thank you. Yellows and lights, and then the warm red and brown tones here. And that just helps me grab the color I need or color family I need. And then I try to keep the values kind of close together so that I can choose. So I think it's really important to organize your pastels. A lot of people come to workshops with all these separate boxes of pastels, and you take a lot of time searching. And if you can organize them by hue and value, it will really, make your workshops and your plein air work go much more smoothly. So, okay, so here is my surface, and I have the image that I sent to Nicholas, and he sent it out to everyone, which was a big help. Thank you. So you can either paint along, or you can call me out on my mistakes. But really, I want people to ask questions. There are no silly questions at all. This is a demo to, help any of you with any issues you might have as far as pastel painting. I am going to revise the photo a little bit. I think I'll take this tree out. Definitely I'll take out the dumpster. Although being a city painter, I love to paint dumpsters, but it just doesn't work here, especially because it's right on the edge of the image. So, I don't know if I'm going to keep this electric box. I might make it into a mailbox. I don't know. But anyway, I just loved the color on the door, and I love Adobe buildings, and I'm envious of any of you that have access to one or live in one. I just think they're so cool. So anyway, very different than the architecture in the Midwest. So, okay, my husband Ron's going to be here. Let me pull him into the picture so you can meet Ron. This is Ron. So he's going to take my seat and fiddle with the cameras. So I get started. The middle one, middle camera. So I always start my images with what I call a tick mark map. And it's just a piece of vine charcoal, and I just kind of hit it against the sanded UART paper. And this is UART 400 that I've dry mounted to 8-ply rag board. And I have a dry mount press because I have a frame shop. So, you can use 3M spray. There's also some kind of, I think Desmond O'Hagan uses a double stick sheet. I've never used that, so I don't even know how to tell you what it is. But anyway, it will mount, to your rigid surface. So, anyway, I just kind of start in, I am going to eliminate that tree, kind of pretend it's not there, but I want a little bit of that perspective in there. So I'm just going to take liberties with this photo. And I want the landscape to come up higher than it is in the photo. So I've found that if I don't use this map, I just start in painting and I run out of space. So the map helps me rein it in.
What size is your paper?
It's a 12 by 16. And there's lots of different layers of this building, as you can tell from your photo. And I'm not real clear on what's what, but hopefully I can make it work. Looks like there's a little courtyard beyond that blue door. And there's a little garden here, so that kind of skews the perspective a bit. The vanishing points are way off the page, so they're way out here. Excuse me, way out here, and I'm just letting the angles kind of tell me where the vanishing points are. I'm going to compress the building just a little bit. What attracted me to this scene was the blue door and then the shadows on the adobe. I love those shadows. So that electric box is making interesting shadows, but I don't know if I really want it to be an electric box right by the front door. We'll see. Okay, so you can see I've moved this landscape up a little bit just so you have a more direct path into the house. So, okay, so that's the map. And I always start with the darks, put the darks in, and then I wash those in with denatured alcohol. I realize it's out in my linear. Here's a little thing. I just did a workshop in North Carolina and I didn't unpack my travel thing of denatured alcohol. Let's go pour some in this lid here. Okay, so the darks are going to go on next. And I try to apply the darks with kind of a light hand because you want to keep them transparent. So you can see I'm not pressing very hard at all. And I like to mix them up a little bit. That was kind of a purple, and this is more red. The thing I like about the Richardson sets is that they have their own little cubby. So I can tilt up the colors as I use them. And then I know, which ones to go back to. This is a deep blue. This is a really dark green. It looks black, but it's not black. And I want to get some of those greens in back there, but I want to push them back, so I'll use a bluer dark green back here. And then there's the foliage, overhanging foliage. This is the real dark green again. So you can see I just kind of slap these colors on.
Louisa was asking, do you choose a color palette before you start painting?
I don't. I have it organized enough that I think I know the palette pretty well because of painting so much that I just kind of know what colors to reach for. There's nothing wrong with pre-choosing your colors, especially if you you take a bunch of colors with you. That's a little going into the mid-range. I want to not use that yet. It might help you keep your colors more organized. Okay, so time to wash in. And I use number 6 fan brush. This again is a Richardson fan brush. This one's getting a little well used, but they do last forever because it's a bristle brush, and it's thin, so it gives you more of a painterly look. When I'm doing cityscapes, I tend to just do, a vertical and then move over to the right or the left or whatever, and just do one stroke. But this is not as much vertical as a cityscape would be. So I'm just kind of repeating the shape I see of what's been painted in the dark.
Vic asks, what kind of alcohol do you use?
Oh, this is denatured, simply because I should have painted that window in. It's a fuel, and it evaporates much more quickly than any other wetting agent. So you can use, rubbing alcohol. You can use turpentine. You can even use water. But with plein air painting, I like to have it evaporate quickly. And gosh, in your environment, it would really evaporate quickly.
Yes.
So some of these vertical lines will maybe help me as I'm, drawing the architecture. So like maybe the blue door, some of those boards in there, maybe I'll just paint over that and let the shadow in the boards be the underpainting. So we'll see. Okay. I don't want to start in until it's dry because it can scar the paper. So it's still cold to the touch, so that indicates to me that it's wet. I don't think I painted there. The underpainting kind of sets the pastels, sets the dark, so it's very easy to go over with the mid-range values and then follow up with the lights. I don't use a fixative, although sometimes I will, if I'm working on a large piece, I will spray this fixative on the darks and use it instead of the denatured alcohol, but the denatured alcohol is what I rely on the most. Just because it, again, it dries more quickly. Okay, so work the distance here. And I do go back in and reinforce the darks. So, I don't stop using the darks once I wash in, but they do need reinforcement sometimes. I'm just using, a little bit of this these blue greens for the distant foliage. And I'm just treating it as shapes and masses. I'm not going in and, examining each leaf. And I use the side of the stick rather than the tip because I don't want little noodles.
Letty was wondering what type of fixative do you use when you're working with fixative?
Again, I maybe 1 in 50 paintings will I use fixative, but this is Spectrafix, and I did get this at IAPS. Whoops.
Show the bottle again. There you
So
go.
it was
Spectrafix. Yeah.
Spectrafix, and the woman had just come out with this pump bottle, and it's really nice to have the pump bottle. It just is a broader spray instead of, sometimes the squirt bottles, you squirt where you don't want to squirt. So this seems to spray better.
Right. And Laverne was asking, do you use a thumbnail sketch before beginning on most of your work, or just
I don't, I've done so much plein air painting and I'm always rushing to get started. So I feel like my wash in with the darks is like a full scale no tan, because it's telling me where the values are. It's telling me, I've masked the shapes in dark and kind of left the lighter parts lighter. So yeah, I don't do thumbnails or no tans in advance other than what I feel is a no tan on my surface, full scale. Needs a little washing too. So a warmer green versus a cooler green, just to bring that forward. And I almost always use the side no matter what I'm painting, because I want to treat the sticks like a brush. And I don't use pencils because they're just too tight for the way I like to work. So people often ask if I use pastel pencils, and I don't. One time I was doing a neon sign and I popped a little pastel pencil into that. Is anyone painting along?
I don't know, they haven't said.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Good. Is that John?
Yes, hi.
Hi. Recognized your voice.
Oh, here's how far I am. I don't think you can see much though. I zoomed it in a bit more than you did.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I kind of concentrated on the door more, I think.
Oh, good. Yeah, that might be more interesting. So I'll let some of the underpaintings show through. And I need to reinforce the darks on this, on the Adobe. I always start with the soft pastels, and I use the hards later if I need to get into a tight spot. I use them for windows when I'm doing a cityscape, and there's a multi-story high-rise with lots of windows. I'll let the underpainting define the windows, and then I tend to paint around the windows, paint the space around the windows with the hard. Oops. Any questions at all?
Betty's asking do you use a protective lotion for your hand?
No, I don't. My husband's always asking me to, and I'd like to get my fingers in it.
I know, I'm kind of the same way.
Sure, save on manicures. I never have to get my nails done because my nails are such a wreck. What's the point?
I know people have tried that liquid glove, but I don't tend to like it.
Yeah, I have some in the drawer here. I just haven't used it.
Lynn is asking, do you use a dust filter in your studio? One of the vacuum things or whatever?
No, I don't have one. Does anyone have one there that, I'm concerned about the noise.
I know one pastel that uses one, but she's not here today, so I
Okay.
don't know how the noise is for her.
I have a cleaner. It's not necessarily, it's just an air filter and it's pretty quiet. It's a really good one. It has an ozone layer. You can put on the ozone to which you don't want on very often. And it also has an ultraviolet and you can wash. It has like three different or four different filters and you can wash them all out. So you don't have to keep buying filters.
Wow. Is that Vic?
Yeah, that was me. I can
What-
get the information. Yeah, I have no idea. We went to a home show and then these guys came to our house.
Oh, gosh.
I'll get the name and that and give it to you. You can put it in an email or newsletter, whatever you want.
Oh, that'd be helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, it's small. My husband really liked it because it was small. And he actually built a little thing so we can move it around the house. We don't have to, it's supposed to get everything, but our house is kind of an L and I feel like my studio is the L part. So I roll it in here and use it when I'm painting.
But it's just kind of a general whole house
Correct.
filter.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Marilyn says she has one that fits under her easel, but found them really ineffective and replacement filters are really expensive. So,
Oh, so she is not voting for one.
right. She's saying no to them. Thumbs down, in other words.
Okay. Whoops, that's too intense. There's all kinds of gear around that electrical box.
Yeah.
I don't think I want it to be an electrical box, so I'm not going to put all that gear there. So I feel like the secret to pastel painting is learning the pressure. Like I always feel like the lighter the value, the harder you can press with the pastel. I just try to keep the darks transparent, and then it's just hard to paint over thick pastel. So, I wait for the lights and I really press those in hard.
Vic says the whole house purification system she has is called Platinum Air Purification System, and the fan has 4 speeds.
Okay,
That's under chats if anybody wants to look that up. But
Thank you.
Platinum Air Purification System.
Thanks, Vic.
And Marilyn and Letty also say that you can often find materials at hardware stores cheaper than the art market for a similar item for sure. So check Lowe's and Home Depot and places like that for air filters that might work.
Oh,
really
that's a good idea.
Yeah. Vic says she got a spray bottle from a beauty store too, instead of for spraying her fixative on. So there's all sorts of different areas you can find things that can be used as art supplies that aren't as expensive as art supply stores.
Yeah, because I guess they think artists have so much money.
Obviously, I got that wrong, don't they, folks?
So that was a hard pastel. They're good for foliage, kind of get that little fan action going. I gotta make up stuff where the dumpster is. I can't remember where I saw this. It was Santa Fe or Albuquerque. I'm sure looking forward to being back there. I just think it's such a great part of the country. I'm just gently layering some color over there. A little lighter value.
People are chiming in on air filters. Betty G she uses an ionizer air cleaner bought at Costco that works well, 4 to 5.
Costco.
But she hasn't used it at in the studio yet. And Letty says the one she got from Lowe's is called the Idyllis, Idyllis. And she said it was very quiet and worked well.
Oh, good. Yeah, I didn't want anything loud because I couldn't watch my Downton Abbey while I'm painting if it's too loud.
Yeah. I know it's nice to have music or something interesting to have on.
Absolutely.
Air filter is not so much fun, I would think. Nicholas says, our friend, the late Fred Miller, once told a joke. What's the difference between an artist and a large pizza?
What?
A pizza can feed a family of 4.
Oh, that's great. Oh, how true. Oops.
Letty asked if you will be at IAPS.
Oh, yes. I'm gonna do the paint around.
Oh, how wonderful.
It'll be so fun. I've always thought that was a hoot. It'll
Oh,
be
me
fun to
too.
be part of it.
That is one of my favorite things. I can't imagine doing it, but that sounds great.
I don't know who else is gonna be doing it, but
Oh,
I have a blast.
oh, you certainly will. For anybody who hasn't been in IAPS yet, and I'm sure there's a few of you that haven't, this called a paint around, and they have 5 artists, is it usually?
Yeah, I think so.
Anyway, they all have the same board or size medium to work on, and they can use they have pastels in front of them, and they each bring an image, each of the 5 artists do, and they have 10 minutes, I think, or whatever, to work on their initial image to begin with. Then they switch easels and they all go to the next one across. And so all 5 of the artists work on each individual image that the artist brought. And of course, they change significantly from artist to artist. And then at the end, the original artist goes back to their piece that they brought and finishes it up as best they can. And it's just wonderful to see the changes that evolve in it.
And they get kind of silly sometimes.
Sometimes they can, yeah, they get really wild and really off from what the original painting looked,
Yeah.
like. And then they auction them off to make money for scholarships.
This is a better blue. So you can see with this light pigment how hard I'm pressing.
Yeah. Letty's asking, do you think value comes first before color in a painting?
Absolutely. You know, the old saying, color gets the glory, but value does all the work. So you can paint things any color as long as you get the value right. What I've always been taught. But I do tend to paint things the local color, you know. But I do push it sometimes. Like when I'm doing a cityscape, I'll often do like one side cool and one side warm and really push those colors just to make us, you know, a gray cityscape look more interesting. How's our time?
Well, no, there's no time limit. You can go as long as
Oh.
you.
Okay. Any questions?
Vic asked, is UArt your favorite paper?
It is. I used to work on 320 and I kept getting blood in my paintings because of the way I use my fingers.
Oh my
So I
God.
switched to 400.
Yeah.
I'm teaching a UArt workshop here in our learning center in September. And we have permission to paint at the amazing Anderson Japanese Gardens for 3 days. So I'm very excited about that.
Not a question, but I just wanted to say your painting is stunning so far.
Well, thanks, Nicholas.
I love the window in the back. It's got such a three-dimensional feel to it.
Oh, this one?
No, the one to the right over there.
Oh, here?
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, good. Haven't really even worked on that yet.
No, you haven't really worked on much. But it looks great. The shadow
Oh,
and
good.
the depth of the piece. Yeah.
Thank you. Color's always kind of skewed on Zoom, so I never know
Right.
kind of what you're all seeing. But I will, Linda, send you the finished painting. So if you want to, post that, or should
Yeah.
I send it to Nicholas?
Well, Marilyn or Nicholas, I guess.
Okay.
Marilyn does the website, so she can stick it on there, and she also does the newsletter, so we could put it in next month.
Okay.
I'll put it in the end of the film too.
Okay, that'd be great. Yeah. Vic asked, "Is UArt your?" Oh, I already said that. Is UArt your favorite? No, she wants to know when the workshop is. That's for the.
It's September 7, 8. I'm sorry, September 9, 10, 11. And we've set the date, but we haven't put our heads together to put it on their site yet. So it's listed on my site, but there's no opportunity to register yet until UArt posts it. But there's only 10 spots. And people can stay here, or there's hotels nearby, but we have room for 8 to stay here.
Oh, that's nice.
So it's really fun.
And Laverne asked, "Can you talk a bit about how the camera alters perspective in buildings?"
Is it looking out of whack?
No.
Well, the camera is at an angle.
Well, I
So,
think she was referring to when you take a photograph of a building
oh,
with paint.
yeah, especially if you're doing something that's soaring above you, everything tilts in a little bit. So try to correct it if you're using a photo to paint, just try to straighten things up so that you don't have that
Angle.
that
Yeah.
angle. Yeah.
And Kat was wondering, are you using Garault pastels?
The
light
which?
thin ones for more detailed accents for the fine lines.
Yeah. So this is a Richardson hard square pastel. So yeah, I can get some, nice straight lines with it that I can't get with the soft. Just fussing with some little details in here. I want to make sure I, don't get the value too light because all this is in shadow back here.
Letty was wondering, will you post your website, on your website, the paintings that you're taking to France?
They actually are in my on my website
Already?
under new work, but I haven't really indicated which ones because I just keep painting. I'm taking 20 and I just keep painting, hoping the next one's better than that one, than the last one. So I'm not completely firm on which ones are going, but, and then, yeah, if you sign up for my newsletter, I will be posting things about that trip and the work as I get closer. I should have studied this architecture a little better. I'm not sure what's happening where, because there's a lot of different angles in this, in this building.
Well, that's not your main focal point anyway, so.
Yeah. Looks like it has lots of layers
Yeah.
of structure.
A lot of times in the buildings in the Southwest, they start with a little shack. They keep building onto it,
Oh, do they?
at different angles. Sometimes might start with a little mobile home thing. Yes, it's pretty interesting to see how it all evolves.
That looks like a typical Taos kind of adobe.
Do any of you live in an adobe?
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
we live in
nice.
one of those that have been started in 1890 as a sort of a adobe cracker box, and then
Oh
got
my gosh.
added on and then added on and added on as the family grew. Our neighbor's great grandfather started the house.
Oh, how exciting.
Yeah, same with mine. It's actually called Terronas, and it was
Yeah.
cut. The mud was cut out of the bank of the Rio Grande River and
my
brought
gosh.
over here to build it.
Wow.
And
The
a lot of the
Coronas are full of roots, and so it's stronger.
yeah, it doesn't have the straw. It has just, yeah, mud, dried mud. And A lot of the homes in this neighborhood in the North Valley are at least partially built that way.
Very cool.
The interesting thing about adobe buildings is that they're earth friendly. If you don't maintain them, they go back to the earth.
Huh, interesting.
Most of them are stuccoed over because if you are maintaining an adobe building, it has to be replastered pretty much every year with mud.
And that's something you probably have to have done, right? It's
Well,
not something you can do
we're all up there
yourself.
and do it. Ours is stuccoed over. Our neighbors got tired of doing that.
So you can see how I'm just really pressing these hard ones in here just to get the sense of foliage without really painting in the foliage so much. So this is a hard, not go too far. Well, got it going the wrong direction.
Dick says, you are such a prolific painter. About how many paintings do you paint a year?
About 150.
That's a lot.
And fortunately, when I was in college and then grad school, I started a frame shop. So, you know, with pastels, you got to get them protected pretty fast. So,
Yeah, one-stop shopping.
yeah.
And then frame it too.
I try not to make windows, you know, like a black hole. So there's always light, you know, because it's glass, there's light reflecting something typically on those windows, whether it's sky or grass. Just the turf.
Marcia asked, do you use a spacer when you frame?
Yes, I don't ever put the pastel by the glass. I've had the framing business for over 42 years, and I've just preached conservation framing always, and I just can't put it next to the glass. So I use either a spacer or I'll use, stacked frames. So like a little narrow frame with I've got my frame samples right here. I can show you. Like a narrow frame right up to the pastel with that, then put your glass on top of this and the wider frame outside. Sorry for the wild colors, but I just grabbed this off the board. So you've got the glass between these two frames. That protects, it acts as a spacer. You can also use a linen liner instead of the little frame, or you can use acrylic spacers.
Do you ever mat your plein air paintings or whatever? Marianne was wanting to know that.
I never mat my pastels. I try to keep them framed as an oil. However, all the work that is going to France, they want matted, and they'll frame them once I get them there. So those I am matting, but I just like the look of framing without a mat.
Right. Uh-huh.
So I'm turning that into a mailbox.
Yeah. Vic wants to know, is there a best way to learn perspective?
Draw, and draw some more. There's a good book. Perspective Drawing Handbook, and it's Joseph D'Amelio. You can get this on Amazon. It's a Dover book. So there's great exercises in here. I also just reviewed a book for a Spanish artist, and this is available on Amazon. It's landscape painting and composition. Jose Paya Zaforteza. So glary, I don't know if you can see it, but we've been in contact, and he has some great examples of perspective. So this is a good book with 1 and 2 point perspective, clearly explained. And I asked him if I could copy his examples and use them for my workshops, and he said by all means. So, and I think he's going to put some of my work in his next book. So that's a great resource.
I would also suggest taking a class from this artist called Nancie Mertz.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I like to talk about perspective.
Me too, John. I agree.
Marilyn says there are many good books in our Albuquerque. There might be able to take Bud's perspective class. Bud Edmondson does a wonderful perspective class here. Also, the PSNM library has books that you might want to borrow as well. And we do have a new librarian, and when we start physical meetings again, you can check out books from her. And Kat wants to know, do you use fixative prior to framing? I know you talked about fixative earlier. I think she came in a little late.
Yeah, no, I don't use fixative at all, except on larger pieces when I'm just occasionally I will use it to fix the darks on a large piece. It gives it kind of a interesting crusty feel in the darks, and I kind of like that sometimes. It's a little textural. But because I have a frame shop, you know, I can get things under glass right away. So
Yeah.
I do have that advantage.
That looks great. You'd never know it was an electric box.
Thank you.
Do you have worries about sending many paintings overseas?
Well, I'm actually going to carry them under my arm.
Oh,
So yeah, I'll check my clothes and everything else. I'll carry my pastel box and my paintings on with me because I got to keep track of them.
Yep. I assume you put glycine or something in between the
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I ordered a tracing pad, and I'm going to cut it to the size of the largest ones, and they're 40 by 50 centimeters, which is roughly a 12 by 16 with a 2-inch border. So I'll just put them in between the tracing paper sheets, but also cover them with glycine because they have to be matted. So I'm trying to protect the mats too. So anyway, it's gonna be fun. And Ron's of course coming along with me, so he's going to help me maneuver and
Oh yeah.
get all this stuff where it needs to be.
sounds like you've thought it out very well, though.
Well, I've had 3 years to think about it.
That's true. Yeah.
So just adding some little bits of color, but still I'm using the side of a smaller piece just to get a little more interest in the trees.
Mhm.
Okay, let's see. What does it need? Better clean up this foreground. Oops, that's the wrong color. Okay. See, I didn't really resolve that either. Sorry, I talk to myself when I paint. Like, why did you do that?
Heard that talking to yourself is a sign of intelligence.
Well, good to know. So this is, whoops, fun at the end to just kind of get some brushy things going. If you have a lot of brushwork you need, or brushy grasses you need to include, you can dip your fan brush into just the tips into alcohol and, you know, come up. I don't have that much I need to do at this point, but you know, if you're doing a grassy field or, you know, some of that brush out in the desert, it's really fun to hit it with the fan brush.
I would like to say that being at Nancie's Arc de Triomphe Learning Center is a unique experience because of being able to live and stay. And the environment of the artists rather than a workshop, regular workshop environment. And Nancie and Ron are incredibly gracious hosts, and they take care of everything for everyone. And being at the Japanese gardens will be a wonderful place to paint. And if there's rain, there's plenty of room at Nancie's to paint from photographs if that happens. But it's just a very, very unique situation. And I don't think I know of another artist who is this open with time and activity and their home, etc. Critiques are wonderful fun in the evening before dinner, and it's all planned out very, very well. So I just
Thanks, Letty.
there. You're most welcome. I would love to return, but it's not going to happen for a while.
You took the train here. That was
I did.
brave of you.
Yes, it was. I took the train from Lamy to Galesburg and rented a car and drove along one of the Illinois rivers. I guess that's Rockford River. Anyway, it was a pleasant drive for me and a real stretch for me to do this by myself.
We sure had fun. It was a great group.
Well, I think anyone who would be going to that type of workshop would have a very enjoyable time and again learn a great deal from this particular artist.
Thank you.
You're not just you're not just being there during the workday or
No.
times. You're immersing yourself with other artists and talking about art 24/7, probably.
Yes, exactly. True. At the breakfast table, dinner table, and usually lunch we're all painting outside and eat these marvelous lunch bags that Ron and Nancie prepare, and it's just a huge array of things that you sort of pick what you want in your bag, and there was enough of everything for everyone with an incredible choice.
You're making me hungry, Letty.
Yeah, sure. It's about time.
Yep.
But that was so much fun.
It was so fun.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think it needs?
I can't see anything that it needs. It's beautiful.
Well, thank you.
Anybody have any questions or want to know more about this work or see whatever? Betty says a signature is all you need.
Oh, okay. And I would encourage any of you to sign up for my newsletter, get information about upcoming workshops, and you can see new work and so forth. I just sent out an e-blast this morning. And I try not to do it too often.
It's always a joy to receive your newsletter.
Oh, thank you, Nicholas.
Do you know where your exhibit will be in Giverny?
In the town, I don't know. I haven't been there in a while to know the town well enough to know exactly where it will be, but it's there's on my website is the poster for the show, and it would say on there where it is.
Oh, I saw the poster, but I didn't quite get the place.
Of course, it's all in French.
Yes. I love the way you vary the shadows on the adobe with varying colors of the same value.
Oh, good, thank you. There's some interesting shadows in the photo that aren't here because I eliminated stuff, and I kind of missed those shadows, but they wouldn't make sense.
No, this is plenty.
Yeah.
And this is a little confusing right here. That little chimney.
Yeah, Marilyn says that may be a canali that you're looking at there. It's confusing looking because they stick out from the walls, adobes.
What is it called?
A canali.
Yeah.
I've heard of cannoli.
No, no.
Yeah, it's not the noodle. Yeah.
Okay.
It's the gutter.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
the gutter. Okay.
The canale is the spout of the gutter where it sticks out the adobe and draws water off without melting the house.
Off the roof, yeah.
So right
Flat
in here.
roofs, it takes it, yeah, and it would have a shadow below it there, but that's probably what it is. Hard to know how to paint them.
Well, probably when you're actually painting it plein air, you can see it more clearly.
Absolutely, yeah.
Maybe just a little more hot green in here.
Marilyn says one of the advantages of doing plein air every once in a while is that you see the little canales and things like that. You know what you're looking at,
Yeah.
even if it's from a photograph.
How's our time now?
Looks great.
Is it? I'm not sure what else to do, so I better stop.
Yeah, Marilyn says, stop. I agree. It looks fine. I don't see anything else you need to do to it.
Okay. Well,
It
why
is-
don't we flip back to other camera? The middle one. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So are there any questions at all about anything?
Can we see it face on? Because we're seeing
Yes.
it at an angle.
Okay,
Can you get a shot of it so that it's
let me go back.
rectangular shape?
Okay.
It's a trapezoid.
Right.
So I don't want anybody to get motion sickness, but
Close your eyes if you have that problem.
Perfect. Much better. Wow.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Oh, wow.
It's a wow.
Let me show you my studio.
Good idea.
Got the camera loose.
Lots of windows.
Oh,
Yep.
wonderful.
Wow.
There's our little
Oh, there's Belle.
14-year-old dog, Belle. She's,
She's standing so still, she's like a statue.
yeah.
There she's moving.
Yes, we need to see
Let's
what
see.
you all did.
Yeah, would you all?
I'd like to see your work, John, if you're able to. I can.
Well, I'm not sure you'll be able to see much.
Spotlight.
Lynn too was painting.
Hey, John, that looks
Yeah,
great.
all right.
Okay.
Wow.
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 Now, good.
Very-
Very good, John. Oh, Lynn.
That was fun.
Lynn,
Yeah?
Lynn, I hold it up.
Huh? Hold it up
Hold
again.
your work up.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
you just did.
there we go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Say something, Lynn, so we get to your screen.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, I'm trying, but it's not paying a whole lot of attention. You're gonna have to click on my picture, and that'll bring the.
There you go.
Right there.
You can pin
Okay.
her.
Anyway,
Again.
Very nice.
so the interesting challenge there was I didn't have the same colors, of course, and I made myself do a very limited palette. So I just went to the up to Bluebird Studios for their first class with Desmond.
Yeah.
And so I thought, if I want to learn something, I'll try the limited set. So this is Desmond's set of Richardson colors.
Oh, good.
And so you just use what's there.
Right.
Yeah.
It looks good. They all blend together very nicely, even though it's not the same colors as the.
They do behave well. Yeah.
It
Very
works.
nice.
Yeah,
Thank
very
you,
nice.
Nancy.
Yeah, that was a great idea of sending out the photo for people to work with. You know.
Yeah.
Well, anybody who did paint along could send it for the newsletter if you wanted me to put it in the newsletter.
That's a great idea too, Mary.
Or Laverne is doing that Instagram page.
Right, they can put them on there.
So, and Lynn it's a little difficult, but wouldn't you recommend Desmond's workshop?
Oh,
for everybody?
absolutely.
In August?
Absolutely. I would have, right when you mentioned it, but I thought, well, enough, we need to move on to Nancy. But the Bluebird setting was great. And Desmond is as you guys know, because we had him for our last session, but he's charming, he's funny, he's relaxed, and he really works with you. So I strongly recommend it.
He's an excellent instructor.
Yes, he is.
And he has been for PSNM before. But anyway, because That's my job, is to fill up the next workshop.
John,
Nancy knows I'm not the fastest in the
Really
letter, so that's a lot
That's
for me.
really good.
Yeah, you
It is.
really
wonderful.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
nailed it.
Probably looks better on video.
Excellent.
Great. Both of y'all did wonderful. Anybody else do anything?
Don't think so. I can't get the internet at my studio, so there was no way I was doing this at home.
Oh, yeah.